So you think owning just 0.01 Bitcoin isn't a big deal? Here's the shocking truth that'll change how you see your Bitcoin stack forever. If you hold even that tiny amount, just 1/100th of a Bitcoin, you're already ahead of 99.96% of the entire global population. That's rarer than being a millionaire, rarer than owning beachfront property, vintage cars, or fine art. Most people have no idea how incredibly scarce even small Bitcoin holdings are, and they won't understand the opportunity they've missed until it's too late. Today, I'm going to show you exactly where you rank in the Bitcoin wealth pyramid and why the window to accumulate meaningful Bitcoin wealth is closing faster than you think. Let me ask you something. How many people in the world do you think currently own Bitcoin? Take a guess. Maybe 15%? 5%? 1%? If you guessed even 1%, you're still way off the mark because the real number will blow your mind. Picture this. If you drew a massive blue circle representing the 8 billion people in the world, that's everyone who owns 0 Bitcoin, all the no-coiners. Now, the people who hold at least 0.01 Bitcoin, that would be a tiny pink dot so small you can barely see it, representing just 0.04% of the world's population. Think about that for a second. 99.96% of people on this planet own either 0 Bitcoin or less than 0.01 Bitcoin. So if you already own more than that, congratulations. You're literally in the top 0.04% globally based on current data. Now I know it can be easy to feel small when you're constantly seeing Bitcoin influencers talking about their massive stacks, making 0.01 Bitcoin seem almost pointless. But when you zoom out and see the bigger picture, you'll realize just how early and rare you are. Let's put this in the context of Bitcoin's supply. You probably know there will only ever be 21 million Bitcoin. That number is fixed. No central bank or politician can change it. As of mid-2025, about 19.66 million have been mined, but here's the kicker. At least 3 million are gone forever due to lost keys, destroyed hard drives, or early users who forgot they had it. This leaves about 16.6 million Bitcoin in circulation, but most of it isn't even available for trading. Only about 2.4 million Bitcoin are currently held on exchanges. That's just 15% of the circulating supply, and that number is dropping fast, down 20% since November 2024. Bitcoin's liquidity is evaporating while demand keeps rising. Here's a mind-bending thought experiment. If you divided those 16.6 million coins evenly among everyone on Earth, each person would get just 0.002 Bitcoin. That's only 200,000 Satoshis each. So if you're holding more than 0.002 Bitcoin, you're already above the global average in Bitcoin wealth. This is the reality of owning a truly scarce digital asset. Scarcer than gold, scarcer than real estate, far more scarce than Apple or Nvidia stock, and scarcer than most of the world's rarest collectibles.
Now, the good news as well, another quick point of how early we are. There are 53 million addresses, and there's 8 billion people on Earth. Therefore, you could argue if each human only had one address, that would be 0.66 percent penetration on the planet. But of course, most people, many Bitcoin holders have like 10 plus addresses. So that's skewed. But anyway, just remember, we are still very early despite this very cool graphic. And if Bitcoin was evenly distributed across the planet to all the people, the 19.7 million Satoshis across 8 billion people, each human would have 247,000 Satoshis. That's about 0.0025 Bitcoin per person, and that would cost you 212 today. So if you have a nephew or a grandson or a niece or something, and you want to give them a gift, buy them 212 bucks of Bitcoin, teach them how to use a wallet, and then they'll have more than the average person on Earth. A lot more. Anyway, if it's evenly distributed, of course. And remember, this is where we are in terms of Bitcoin adoption. We are still so early. If you compare them to iPhones, we're basically Nokia 8840 time zone, if anybody is old enough to remember those phones. We have a long way to go. A lot more adoption.
Now, you've probably seen those old sea creature charts with Bitcoin whales and dolphins, but let's be honest, most of us aren't swimming with whales. So let me break this down with something more relatable. Bitcoin wealth tiers represented by cars, from a simple scooter up to an Italian supercar. First, we have the Vespa Tier. That's holders with less than 0.01 Bitcoin, representing 88% of all Bitcoin wallet addresses. You're moving, but it's not fancy. Most people fall here. Next is the Hyundai level. 0.01 to 0.1 Bitcoin. This makes up about 69% of all wallets holding more than 0.01 Bitcoin. You're practical, you've moved beyond the basics, and you're steadily stacking sats. Then we have the Tesla tier, 0.1 to 1 Bitcoin, where only 30% of wallets reach this level. You're cruising with comfort and style. Moving up to the Porsche level, 1 to 10 whole Bitcoin, sleek, powerful, and turning heads. Just 8% of wallets make it here. And finally, the Lamborghini tier, 10 plus whole Bitcoin, representing the top 1.2% of all wallets, the true Bitcoin OGs and elite holders. Let me make this even more concrete by visualizing each level as people in major cities. If you hold 0.01 to 0.1 Bitcoin, you'd be one of just 9,175 people in all of New York City. That's less than the workforce of a large tech company. Own 0.1 to 1 Bitcoin? You're one of only 3,296 people in Greater London, about the size of one small football stadium. Hold 1 to 10 Bitcoin? You're one of just 888 people in Hong Kong, fewer than the multimillionaires living in that financial powerhouse. And if you have 10 to 100 Bitcoin, there are only 131 other people in all of Chicago at your level, roughly the number having dinner at a single busy restaurant. Now here's where it gets really interesting. Let's compare Bitcoin wealth tiers with traditional net worth. To be in the top 10% of net worth in the US, you need around $1.2 million. In the UK, about £600,000. In Australia, nearly 2 million Aussie dollars. But to be in the top 10% of Bitcoin holders, you only need about 0.1 Bitcoin, just over $10,000 at current prices. That's the cost of a used Honda, but in terms of rarity, it puts you in the same tier as a traditional millionaire. Own more than 1 Bitcoin, and you're equivalent to a multimillionaire in this ecosystem. Hold more than 10 Bitcoin, and you're sitting among the billionaires in terms of relative scarcity. Here's the beautiful part. Most traditional wealth takes decades of grinding, building careers, climbing property ladders, navigating complex financial systems, or being lucky enough to inherit assets. Bitcoin offers a different path. It's not easy, but with time, discipline, and a long-term view, anyone can climb the Bitcoin ladder. You don't need banks, you don't need permission, and you don't need to already be wealthy. You can self-custody it, hold it long-term, and protect yourself from currency debasement, regardless of what stock markets or central banks do. The beauty of this moment is that the bar is still relatively low, but it won't be for long. As adoption grows and supply tightens, these Bitcoin wealth tiers will become harder and harder to reach. One day, owning even 0.01 Bitcoin could be like owning a Manhattan apartment in the 1960s. A decision that seems small now, but becomes legendary later. Most people won't recognize this opportunity until it's gone, but if you're watching this, you probably already get it. You are early, you are rare, and you have the potential to be playing a completely different wealth game. So let me know in the comments. Did you realize how rare your Bitcoin stack is? What car would you be driving based on your current holdings? If this video helped you see your position in a whole new light, smash that like button, hit subscribe, and share this with someone else who's stacking it, but might not realize how far ahead they already are. Remember, in a world of infinite money printing, scarcity wins, and you're holding the scarcest asset ever created. The question isn't whether Bitcoin will go up, it's whether you'll accumulate enough before everyone else figures out what you already know. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.
Stack it up real high. Come here to be in the know. Come here, enjoy the show. 'Cause it's Warren's money time.